Hi everyone, this is Maya from Kidspired Life. I'm a holistic transformation coach and healer, and I love following spiritual people online, and especially those ones that tell it like it is and are very real. And I always like to connect and find out more about them. So I'm actually very blessed and happy to have one person here that with me who really does tell it like it is. I found her readings were really on point. She's super real, and I can't wait to introduce you guys to her. So, Sarah, hi, welcome to
Hi.
our little talk today. I'm
Yes.
so happy
Thanks,
to have
Maya.
you here. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your work? What
Yes.
you do? It's so
Yeah.
interesting.
So I work. Well, I was started out as a coach, a good and a pretty highly intuitive coach, but I wasn't really connected to completely as I am now to being a channel. So I would get these like hits pretty easily, and I could read people easily. I didn't exactly know why. As I progressed as a coach, I realized I had been channeling, and my main channel is Archangel Michael. Um, that's my main uh, angel. So I actually do work with angels, and I coach with them. And I'm considered a multi-dimensional coach. So I'm using multi-dimensions to really bring it home and use a multi-dimensional approach in your life to create.
Mm,
So the tagline is blow your own mind, because you're like, whoa, is this actually real? I'm like, dude, it's working.
yeah.
So that is what I do. I coach, and I also teach people how to channel, because I feel like this isn't for special people. Everyone can do it. Some people, just like I describe it, like athletes, some people are more naturally good at it, but you can definitely teach it.
That's actually something that I found interesting. And also in my work, I encounter people wondering about like their intuition. How they can differentiate between their
Mhm.
mind and the intuition. And I was like, you really have to kind of practice it. And I have found it as a healer as well, that I really needed to kind of fine tune and recognize what it is, because we are always guided, in fact. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the free will thing is really cool.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that that's why we ask for assistance. And
Mm,
they're like, well, why don't people just help me? I'm like, well, it's your free will. Like, no one's going to intervene
mm, exactly.
unless you ask for help. But and you can do that. Like, people can be those kinds of angels for you, can be guided to be like, this person's going to do it. And like, definitely I consider us all spiritual beings. So we have both sides. We just live here on earth, and we are using all the earthly tools, but also we can use the spiritual tools and the wacky fifth dimension tools.
Yeah, I just love that that we can just have all these tools and we have so many tools available.
Yeah.
So how did channeling start with you? Like, how did you realize that you are channeling? How does that work, really?
Yeah. It really does. For me, it had to hit me like a lightning bolt. It really
Mm,
did, because you know how your mind plays tricks on you, and you're like, was that, and you're questioning it.
totally,
So
yeah.
it literally hit me like a lightning bolt. I'd always felt, I remember when I was little, like I was probably in 6th grade or something, and I was looking at my hands, and I told my sister, I go, do you feel like you're in your body or you are your body? She goes, I feel like I'm my body. And I remember going, I don't. I feel like I'm in my body. So I remember being like kind of
Hmm.
fascinated by the fact that I had hands when I was like, I remember
This
noticing
body is
that.
weird, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, what the
yeah. And
hell?
when I was 20, I
Mm,
actually got sober when I was 20.
okay.
But what happened is I was literally standing, and this is 1988. So I'm in like an Indian shirt. I'm home from college for Christmas. I have long hair. I'm hanging out. I was not thinking about any of this. I'm smoking a cigarette, and out of nowhere, and it's winter, so I'm outside smoking a cigarette because my parents wouldn't let me smoke in the house. And out of nowhere, I literally, it's like a lightning bolt hit me quickly in a second.
Hmm.
And it's almost like I shifted. And all I remember is someone giving me a memory, like a memory was giving, and I don't even remember what the memory was, But the thought right after was, oh, that's right, I don't do that this time. And I was very clear it was drinking
Mm.
and partying.
Oh, wow.
I was very, very clear. So it was literally in that moment, there was a shift and I never looked back. Now I didn't go, oh my God, that must have been like, I remember it so clearly. I didn't focus on it. And I would have that probably a couple times a year where I would have these moments and I would open my mouth and say things to strangers that were totally inappropriate, but true.
Mm.
And I was horrified. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I would just tell people, be like, you can't live with that. Like, stuff that was none of my business. I personally don't care about. I mean, everyone's going to do what they're going to do.
Mm.
But I would open my mouth, stuff would come out, and I would apologize. So that was kind of, it was like I wasn't managing the channel, and it was just blip, 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 like coming right out.
Mm.
So that happened, and about 40 it started happening more regularly, and at 40 all of a sudden I started being able to see on people where there was pain or something was blocked. I could see it and feel it. I could sense it. So people would say it's clairvoyance and claircognizance. So
Yeah.
I remember being like, how can you see it? I go, I see it, but I don't see it like I see you, and I feel it, but it doesn't hurt me. Like, I
Yeah.
was trying to explain, I'm like, I don't know. But I started having healing clients. So I lived in Hilton Head, South Carolina at the time, a big retirement community. And I had people coming to my house to get rid of pain, knee replacement, sciatica. And I learned as I went, going, well, people would say, well, I have insomnia. Can you help that? And I would say, I don't know. I know I can help that knee, but let's throw it in, and we'll see.
Mm.
So I learned as I did,
Mm.
because my results were really, that's what we worry about, results. So people would come in going, I don't really believe in this, but my sister or my husband or my wife told me to come. And I said, well, the cool thing is that doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
I'll do my
Doesn't
work.
matter.
No, there's nobody
It
judging
just
you about
works.
it.
It just works.
So even if you don't believe in angels or other things, it's not like the angels are mad about it. Like, nobody, there's none of that. There's another medium I remember who's really good, but she was saying, well, they don't like it when you ask too many times. And I remember thinking, the angels don't, there's none of that there. They're not sitting there going, we don't like the way you ask. Okay.
No.
Right. So don't worry. If you don't believe in them, that's fine. It doesn't mean it still won't work. So I invite people to blow their own minds, and I don't put labels on it. Yes, this is what I work with. But if someone said, well, what if it was the universe? I would say, okay.
Yeah.
If it's source, your higher self, the ether, it's all good.
Yeah, whatever works for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. Like, I had actually my insight for being a healer, it was like you said, lightning. It was just like I was minding my own business, wasn't focusing at it at all. And just one day I was like, you're going to be a healer. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I
What?
have a career.
Yeah.
Hello. I don't
Yeah.
want to change my life. But in
Yeah.
the end, it had to be that way. So
Yeah. And they
you're
told me
just
what
kind
to
of
do.
gently nudged in that direction.
I am not gently nudged. They're like, go do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Literally. You moving to Asia. I'm
Well,
like, what
they're
the
more
hell am I
gentle
going to
with
do
me.
in Asia? So
Yeah.
but they're not telling me what to do, because I had another
Mm.
interviewer say, well, what if you feel like you have to obey orders? I'm like, no, they're reminding me what my plan was.
Oh my God, that's such a great way of saying that.
So
They're
they're not
reminding me
telling
of
me
what
what,
my plan was because we did come here with a plan.
it had a plan.
That's
So your
amazing.
intuition helps you with your plan. So I love that. And it's not just your intuition, but what if you made it more clear and not as hazy as intuition? So I've worked with plenty of people who say, I don't believe in what you do. And I've worked with them. They pay me. Okay. So it's not like I'm talking to them about it, because no one who really doesn't want to work with me. What do they want to talk about? Angels? No. But they've said, I don't really believe in what you do. I have a hard time. I know that what you're saying is real. I feel like you get what my life is about, but I don't really believe in this. And I said, well, do you trust your gut? It's a very American thing, right? You trust your gut. And they're like, well, yeah, I trust my gut. Then you do what I do.
Yeah.
Okay. You're just keeping it safe. You're keeping it in a box about how you see it.
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with that. But what if you could ask your gut on demand for answers and not just wait around for it to like you get a hit?
Yeah, just ask. People don't ask. So would you recommend that people ask? And I am glad that you actually mentioned the claircognizance and clairvoyancy, because there are different ways of getting the message, because we get it in
Absolutely.
different ways. Do you feel like every
Yes,
person gets in a different way, or can we all tap into all of it? Are we
you
more
can.
open to something?
You can, but you're going to have an experience. What I teach in that How to Channel workshop, we're going to be teaching, like I teach people how to start accessing. We start practicing, and a lot of people start and have a client today starting to learn. Um,
Mm.
and he's from England, and he's very skeptical, but he's like, I've always had this intuition. I'm like, you are ready to roll. Like, so he is going to be doing these things too, starting today. And we're going to learn its techniques, but also they're like, well, how do I know the difference between my mind? I go, fake it, just pretend. And then I will know, right? They've got somebody to share it with until you understand that difference between your own mental chatter and the guidance that is actually you, right? But it could be through angels, it could be through whatever, it could be through your higher self, but it's your plan. Once you know the difference, it's all good.
Yeah.
So then you know it. Mine is so loud and has always been so loud. I've been very fortunate. It interrupts my own chatter, completely interrupts it. I'm thinking about going to the movies and they're like, don't forget, you're actually going to be with this person. I'm like, what? So it's literally, and it says, I'm like getting up in the morning having coffee. It's like, you're moving to Thailand. Like, what? So it's very clear and direct, and it takes practice. For me, it's more natural, but I still practice it. But it takes practice like anything else, and then you start going, oh yeah, oh yeah. So I'm clairaudience a lot. I hear it,
Mm-hmm.
but then when I think about it, I didn't hear the um when I'm healing pain, I could feel it. So that's
Sentient.
sentient.
Yeah.
Then you know where it is. That's claircognizance. And then I can see it as well. That's clairvoyance.
Voyant.
So
Yeah.
you can, there's multiple things. Some people I know are super clear. They're like, well, this is what I see. I go, well, that's how you're getting it. But if you think about it, do you also hear and see? They're like, yeah, but that's secondary. So you'll start to know what your first one is, and then you'll start putting more things together.
Yeah, and it's often a combination. It actually took me a while to realize that I was getting visuals, and I ignored it completely. I didn't have a clue it was a message. And then only through healing work I realized that actually, and I just started saying that. It was like, does this mean something to you? And they were like, yes. We're like, oh, it's a message. Okay. It was really crazy.
Yeah.
And I do, would you say that with time, I mean, that's kind of what I noticed, but would you agree that with time it gets more obvious and more like on, like really clear? Like,
Well, you get more confident because you're practicing, just like you get more confident with anything, any other skill.
yeah. And
Okay. Just,
how does one practice for it? Sorry.
well, there's lots of different techniques, but I tell people to start by writing down their gut feelings. Have a
Mm.
little notebook. It's almost like a notebook of evidence.
Just
You
kind
know,
of
it's very good for
practicing.
analyzers.
Yeah.
Look for the evidence. So every time you have a gut feeling, and if you have a little notebook on you, and this is if you're committed to practicing it, and nobody's perfect about it, but just be like, if you remember stuff or whatever, some people do it with their dreams. Up until now, let's put it that way. I'm not saying I'll never have dreams. I'm not someone who dreams a ton that I remember, and I'm like, oh my God. I had this guy, uh, a doctor actually, who knew what I did, and I get this text from him like all about his dream the night before. I'm like, dude, I don't do dreams.
All right. Yeah.
But some people are really into getting their stuff from dreams, and that can really happen. So mine is like thoughts, and I work with a lot of analytical people. So I use their analytical skills, right,
Mhm.
to work this way. So I'm like, so write down a list of things that your gut tells you.
Mm.
They
Uh,
love lists.
Yeah, yeah. So I would you say like it's kind of practicing self-awareness, just being aware, I think.
Yes, it is. It's awareness of that specific skill. You're honing in on one
Focusing on
specific
one
skill. So
skill.
it's
Okay. Yeah.
just like you would be honing in on, like, if you're thinking about practicing a sport like basketball or soccer, you actually improve. Now, you won't improve as much as playing it,
Yeah.
but you're mentally going into the basket, you're mentally feeling it, you can put it all together, like you can sense it, you can feel it, you can feel the wind, you can feel the air because you've done it, and you're continuing to practice in your head,
Mm.
you're going to get better
Yep.
incrementally, even if you're not practicing on it. Now that's interesting, but you are also, I mean, to be really good, you got to practice physically and using yourself or other people. And I did that first for healing. Like, I went to strangers
Mm.
meetups and said, "Hey, I don't do Reiki, but I do something else." And they're like, "Sure." And every stranger I went to pointed to me and said, "Whatever she did worked." And they didn't know me. They weren't looking for anything. So I was like, "Oh, okay. I'm on the right track."
Yeah.
So it's good to practice with yourself, but I know you're like, "Am I wanting to do this?" So then you're practicing with friends, and your good friends. It's like, don't worry about hurting my feelings. Just, if this doesn't make sense, tell me it doesn't make sense.
Hmm. Yeah, I practice as well. I would agree with that because I also practice in my life, just in my life and with my friends, with my family, just kind of figuring it out. And then after with clients, obviously it was more obvious. So you use mostly this kind. I mean, you use it in your life, but and I know, like you mentioned, that it was a little bit scary at the beginning. So if someone is like kind of hesitant about it,
Oh my God.
what can you tell people if who are not sure if they want to go for it? What are the greatest benefits? I know which one they are for me, but can you share your experience? What are the greatest benefits of like knowing how to get these messages and channel?
Your world becomes bigger, not smaller.
Mm,
Okay. So your world expands. And sometimes we're not all ready for that.
yeah.
And I have to tell you, it was weird. And it was weird for me to come out of the spiritual closet. Like, I'm like out there saying, yes, I channel Archangel Michael and I talk to angels. And also I work with fairies. Like, if you had told me 6 months ago that I would be talking about fairies, I would have said, you're out of your mind. And I always made it like about other people. I would be like this. I'd be like, well, that's not my thing. It's not my thing, but I know other people do it. Well, I got to tell you, my people, my posse, whatever you want to call it, my angels who channel for me, I'm basically like, am I going to be doing everything I judge? And they're like, yeah, yep, yeah, you will. So
That's
it's
so
just
cool.
that it's funny, and there is a lot of humor out there, and you don't have to take yourself like super serious. So when someone says, I don't believe in what you do, I'm like, that's totally, I mean, I understand. I understand.
Yeah, we all
There's
understand
no
it.
fault in that. So it's kind of, so I have people who say, I don't want to talk about angels because I'm super freaked out by religion, and I'm not religious, but at the same time I feel these energies, and I am very spatial. I sense where they're coming from physically, from like here or here or
Hmm.
here, and where they are in my space. But we don't have to. So there's no rule.
Mm,
Okay. There's no like, I'm going to teach you. I will always make angels available to people because they're so fast.
mhm.
Okay. And I will be able to feel which works with different people. Like, do the fairies really like you? Do the angels really like? There's people who talk about lots of different things that I would have also thought was strange. But I mean, at this point, my clients laugh at me because they're like, I told one client, when I was doing work with her, I go, you're actually going to be this, like, one of those weird psychic pet people. And she goes, I love how you call other people weird. Because I
We're all
mean,
weirdos.
it is, we call it coming out of the spiritual closet. Like, you're just out
Totally.
there and people know what you're doing, and it is what it is. And luckily I've already judged myself enough that no one can say anything. It's funny, right? It's just like, I know, but whatever. Here we are with Archangel Michael. And
Yeah. I
Yeah.
totally understand. Yeah. Coming out of the spiritual closet is weird and you're like freaking out. I remember that moment I found myself doing a tarot reading in my group live. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like one of those people on TV who is
Yeah.
like pulling cards. Why we always laughed at them. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what
Yeah.
idiots, you know, like
Yeah.
who
And
called
you
that?
are.
Who called
And
that
you are one of
number?
those people.
And I'm like, I'm one of those people and I love it. I don't care.
Well, it's also I'm here to tell people like I curse. No, I'm not for everybody, right? So
Yeah.
I curse. I'm saying your personality isn't like you don't have to wear like weird clothes and
Yeah. And
burn
be a
incense.
certain way.
No,
Yeah.
no. So that's what I am about is like expansion. We don't replace your analyzing skills. You're not going to lose your mind.
Yeah.
And I have the ability to kind of communicate with each part of a person's defenses. Like people have really hardcore, sometimes they're real rebels, like, but sometimes they're more just watchers, someone who really watches your back, a part of you. So I'm able to connect with that part of you and tell it it's okay. No one's going to get rid of you, and you can watch everything and integrate and figure out how it's going to work for you. And they're literally like, that part of a person's like, I'm listening. Like they're as long as I connect, and then there's the not trusting, like all the parts of ourselves that have done very good work for us are included.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not replaced. They're not told they're bad or wrong, and that's really important because someone's, I've heard people being like, well, I don't judge anymore. I'm like, it's okay to judge as long as you know you're doing it. Like we're human people. So
Yeah.
we're going to have emotions. Anger, unnecessary anger or anger that overwhelms you is a sign that that's not all yours. But anger as a boundary flare up is fine. It just lets you know that you need to deal with something. And that's not like, but if it's overwhelming and it's rage, yeah, that stuff is saying it's too much for your body. It's a
Mm.
sign that it's not even yours. It's probably through family and through like you just absorbed it like a sponge.
Wow, that's very interesting you said that.
Yeah, it's just
Hmm.
different. So it's not,
Wow.
human emotions are not wrong.
No, they're not wrong. Actually, they're
Right.
great. I call them inner GPS, you know. They're showing you a lot of stuff so that you can learn from. And I love what you said is like, I think that's a really important message for all the coaches and healers out there. So if you guys are listening, you pay attention to that one. You don't have to be a certain way or wear certain clothes. I really love that because we always think, oh, we have to be all happy. I'm like, no, you just be yourself.
This is
Just
me.
be
I go,
yourself.
I'm not that kind of channel.
Yeah, or like we are different, and that's perfectly fine because there's so many people out there who need our help, you know. So it's like important to have variety. Actually, if we
Yeah.
were all the same, it wouldn't be good for everyone. We are different, so some people will connect with you, some will with me, someone will someone else. Like
Yeah.
and that's great. That's wonderful. That's amazing, actually,
Yeah.
because there
And
are so many people that need help, you know.
yeah,
So,
and one of my jobs in life that they're telling me is to get out and speak and let people know how accessible this is.
mm.
I
Yeah,
mean, that's
because
my
they're not
job.
aware of that. A lot of people are not aware how
That we
accessible it
can
is.
use this in practical. It's not like you're all of a sudden you're gonna open your home and everything's gonna be full of candles and like incense and crystals everywhere, even though don't be surprised if crystals start showing up in your life. What
Yeah,
it's just so funny
it
because
might.
yeah, only because whatever is most efficient is interesting to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And crystals make things more fast. From the Northeast. I'm like a New Yorker and I am about efficiency and how fast. So when some people are like, don't you really hike and like enjoy it? I said, no, I'm focused on the end result. Then that doesn't make it wrong. Cause I get a lot of people, you should stop and smell. And I'm like, that's not what I do. It's not that I won't, but I feel the rhythm.
Hmm.
I experience it in a different way. My heart's bumping. It's almost like meditation. There's a rhythm to me hiking. There's a rhythm to my breath. There's a rhythm, and I'm focused on my end results, and I love the end results. I've done marathons. I like the end result. So when some people are like, it's the process, I'm not really about the process. I'll do it. I'll definitely do the process. But there's nothing wrong with people who love the process. There's nothing wrong with people who are more focused on the end result. It's just different.
Yeah, I think you need to trust your own rhythm as well, and some people, I think the healing happens when you're ready, and then, you're the one who will take them to that, finish line. I think that's
Yeah.
what I get a
And
sense of. Yeah.
yeah, and also make them like it's they're like, well, I had a really bad day. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with having a bad, we're not the Dalai Lama. I mean, God bless the Dalai Lama, but like, it's about a lot of forgiveness. And when I say that, I don't mean it like everybody needs to forgive. Okay. Yeah, that would be great. But I know for myself, sometimes I'm having a hard time forgiving. That doesn't make it bad. So what I do, and this is like a forgiveness hack, okay,
Mhm.
is focus on the feeling of forgiveness. Don't attach it to any person, including yourself.
Mhm.
Just focus on the feeling of forgiveness. Can you evoke that feeling for 5 seconds?
Mm.
And people usually go like, yeah, I can. I go, then don't worry about forgiving anything. Just feel that emotion, and that other stuff starts taking care of it. So you don't have to work hard to forgive anybody or any person or even yourself. You just focus on the feeling.
Yeah, that's a
And
good hack. Mm.
yeah, because I'm like, why? I don't want to forgive that person. They're like, okay, well then focus on the feeling of forgiveness and let go of who anybody. There's no should
Mm. Yeah,
involved in that.
listen to what feels right for you, right? Mm.
Yeah. So if you can feel the feeling of forgiveness, that starts taking care of itself.
Mm.
Okay. Because a lot of people, like, it's not about being a perfect, forgiving person, and also not about denying the fact that you're angry. It's like, no, I'm still angry. Fine. And you can be with the anger. And also, there's so many techniques to move it through your body without denying it. Um,
Oh, and that's also a process, actually. That's also a process. Sometimes you can just stop being angry, and that's okay, like allow that to, be processed, and just
yeah.
don't deny it. Just deal with it in the best way you
Yeah.
can. And there
It's
are many
important.
ways to deal with that, right?
And of course, I have techniques to make that faster because
Yeah.
that's what I
It's
do.
always a good thing when you can make it faster, because
I make everything faster. I mean,
life is short,
yeah,
right?
I'm about speed.
Yeah, I hear you. I
Speed.
love what you said about channeling, is like, because, obviously we did probably some healers and coaches might be more interested in that, but I think anyone can really
Yes.
have advantage with this, because as you said, it adds to your life experience.
Mhm.
Imagine if you can be just guided all the time, well, not guided, reminded of your
Yes.
plan all the time. I mean, that's amazing. I know that it helped me immensely in my life to just know, like, oh, actually everything's fine. I just go there and follow this and talk to this person, and it's just easier. It's just so much easier. Then you don't question anything. So
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit when and where, how can people get in touch with you to learn more about it?
Yes, I have a Facebook page, Sarah Katz Coaching, SARAKATZ, coaching, and also the website's in the process of being done. So it's sarahkatzcoaching.com, and also Instagram, which is Sarah K Coaching. So on Instagram, I forgot, you guys, I have a YouTube channel, Sarah
Yeah,
Katz Coaching,
definitely important.
SARAKATZ. Yeah. Um, so there's no H on my name, and Katz is with a K, Katz. And on the YouTube channel, I do channeled angel readings for all signs for the months. I'm going to do my new moon readings in a couple of days, because the new moon, I think, is June 3rd. And I do monthly readings, new moon, full moon, and I started that in May. And every day on Instagram, I do a 45-second daily card reading on my Instagram. And on Facebook, I do the new moon for my page, and I do a full moon for my page. But everything is linked up so you can see different readings.
I love
And you
that.
can,
I love your readings, because that's exactly what I said at the beginning. It's like direct, on point, and just like super real. And I love that you have it for every sign, and then you can just check in a few minutes and have your guidance for the month, and then have your guidance for the full moon, for the new moon. It's just so, so good. So definitely check
thank you.
Sarah out, because
Also,
really
I was
cool.
going to say about the Sarah Katz Coaching, and also on this, have all my services, because I do coaching, I do teaching how to channel workshops, and
Exactly.
also readings.
Yeah, so there's different ways. And so basically anyone who wants results should get in touch with you. And clarity.
Yeah.
Clarity, for sure,
Yeah.
clarity. Well, thanks so much for having this conversation with me. It was a lot of
Thank
fun.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Thank
we'll
you
get in
so
touch
much.
soon. All right,
Bye.
bye.